Hey, this is Rick, Easy Photo Scan. Have you ever gotten a job like this? One of our clients who we were doing actually scanning for said, "Hey, I got all these other discs and things. Would you mind taking a look at them?" So the customer just brought them in a case like this and said, "Here you go. Can you let me know what I got in here?" And so I'm going to sort it all out, and I'll be back to you in just a couple of minutes. Hey, everybody, we're back. Just wanted to share with you what we've done. This is time lapse. It's taken me about 40 minutes to figure this all out. But what we've done is, first of all, we found that there was a conglomeration of things. There was CDs. Now, this is important because he's talking about clients wanting to transfer these over into a drive and consolidate all these. So these are the CDs. And your CDs are going to hold 700 megabytes of material, or could possibly hold 700 megabytes. These are DVDs. Now the DVDs will hold up to 4.7 gigabytes of information. And so there's 65 of these, and there's 71 of these. And then lo and behold, I found a bunch of loose pictures as well inside in envelopes that hadn't been digitized. So there's about another 100 pictures here of various sizes. So we've assessed what we've got. We've got basically 65 of the CDs, 71 of the DVDs, and then the pictures. One other thing that we had to do is we went through each of these very quickly and guesstimated an average. And if you look on the back of every disc, you can see that there's a area where it's actually been written versus not writing. Not writing is on the outside. They work. And don't get confused, because obviously it's all about math, but the circumference of the disc, right, it's not equal. If it's 50% of it filled and 50% of it not filled, it doesn't work like that, because there's more information on the outside. We did some math. You can see this one's way more filled than this one. We did some quick math, a quick overview, and we look like there's about 60 to 70% of all of these drives, or these disk media, are full. Okay, so whatever number we come up with here in a couple of minutes, it's about 60 to 70%. So we'll do the math in a minute. And this is important, and I'll explain why in just a moment. So let me put this back kind of a little bit more organized manner than what you see it here, and we'll be back with you in just a moment. Hey, Rick back here at Easy Photo Scan, and we're going to go through the rest of this project. So now that customer's project looks like this, being all sorted out. DVDs in one area, loose pictures here, and this basket contains all the CDs. So let's do a little math, because what this customer wants to have happen is they want all of these onto one drive. We've talked about it. He said he had a 500 gigabyte, or a half a terabyte, solid state drive, and that's important. When you think of these kind of standard drives, they actually have disks in them that spin, so that makes the write time slower than if you're writing it to an electronic solid state disk. So we're going to show you how to kind of figure out the math so that I can actually quote this customer, and I've made a few notes so I have the math somewhat right, and we'll do it up here on the board. So let's see here. So the first thing that we would want to do is we want to kind of configure out how much space at full capacity, right? So we had 65 CDs at 700 megabytes, and we had 71 DVDs at 4.7 gigabytes. So if we do the math and multiply it all out, which I've kind of cheated and did a little bit ahead of time, that's going to equal out, when you get all said and done and do the conversion, to 45.5 gigabytes of storage on 65 CDs at 100%. Okay? The second component was the DVDs, and that turned out to be 333.7 gigabytes at 100%. So if every one of these items, all, what is that, that's 6, so all 136 of these items were 100% full, we'd be looking at just about 300, it rounds up to about 390 gigabytes. So the customer had a half terabyte or 500 gigabyte hard drive, so I am no longer worried, will what he has fit on the drive? The answer is absolutely, this is less than 500 gigabytes. What I really know now is that this is probably going to be somewhere around 60 to 70%. So if we halved that, that'd be 180. So I'm figuring probably about 200 to 240 gigabytes of storage, of actual storage that we're going to have. Plus, we're going to have these pictures that we're going to put on there as well. They're not going to be a whole lot more. We've got plenty of space. So space is taken care of. All right? Hey, we're back again, and I want to share with you just one more thing that we've found out at this point in time to help you maybe a little bit more if you're going to be transferring these, how to be thinking about that as well. And because customer wants to do this, we're going to bill them by the hour to do this, so we're going to have to figure out how much time it's going to take to consolidate all 136 of these items into his one drive. And so what we did was, and I've got some notes from what we just experienced here, is we went and did some testing. Now our testing revealed that we could go and transfer at 9, was it 9? Yes, 9 megabytes, or 9 megabits a second, okay? And so now you have to ask the question, how many megabits are in a gigabyte? And in that instance, there's 8,000, okay? And so if you did all the math, and all of these were at this 60 to 70% level of fullness, and we did the math, we basically have to say it's going to take, at this point, at 240 gigabytes times 8,000, divide that, that's in seconds, divide that by 60, and divide that, that'll get you into minutes, and divide that into 60, that'll get you into hours. And when you get all done at the regular transfer rate onto a read-write drive that we're going to use here, that is, you got disks on it, not the solid state, but the disk, was about 62 hours. Now that's one disk at a time, transferring over. But we had another factor in play, because this drive right here was actually solid state. So we went and got a USB hub, which is solid state. We dropped it into a USB 3 port, which is where we'll be using their external drive from. And so we used the same port, we took the same information, and what we found was that using it on solid state, we were able to drop this number from 62 hours, and we were actually able to transfer disks using the system that we have. The CDs we were transferring at, and this was handling them, moving them, pulling them out of the case. The whole process was 2 minutes. So we were getting 2-minute transfer, complete workflow process. And the DVDs were taking about 20 minutes. So when we went back through the math again, what we found out was by taking the 20 minutes times 71 DVDs and the 2 minutes at 65 DVDs, that we would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 24 to 26 hours of labor. So we now know that we're able to cut this down, not quite by a third, but it was, or by 2/3, but it was pretty significant, at least half of that number, if it was on a regular standard drive. So now I've got a really good answer for the client, right? Dear client, it's going to take us approximately 28 hours. We are going to be transferring up to 390 gigabytes of information onto your 500 gigabyte solid state drive. In addition to that, I've got about 100 pictures here that we're going to scan for them as well at high resolution. So now I've got all the components for my preparation to make my quote for the customer, and we'll let you know how it turns out.
Hey, David from Easy Photoscan. We're back here now. We went over all of the information with the client. He's a super technical guy, and he appreciated how we had it all set it up, and we're able to get some pricing with him. And so we will go ahead and be able to move forward in getting his information transferred.